Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Source 16 News. I'm Eddie Owen. Thanks for joining us. Well, Kentucky will be seeing changes in sentencing for first and second-time drug offenders soon. Today, Governor Steve Beshear signed House Bill 463 into law, which will provide treatment rather than punishment for drug offenders across the Commonwealth. But under the new law, treatment programs like the Phoenix Recovery Center that already exist in the Christian County Jail will take a hard hit. Source 16's Michelle Herron has more.
Some say beating the disease of addiction is a lifelong battle. A majority of inmates involved in drug crimes are more likely to become repeat offenders if they don't learn how to live a clean and sober lifestyle. The Phoenix Recovery Center, which is operated by the Pennyroyal Center at the Christian County Jail, provides treatment to these inmates rather than punishment.
We use cognitive behavioral therapy. We use criminal thinking errors. They are involved in group dynamics on a daily basis. They have large group community meetings. They have smaller group community meetings. We do utilize the 12-step model. So it's a vast approach at trying to cure or at least get you to recover from the disease of addiction.
But most of Kentucky's county jails were designed to house nonviolent Class D inmates, the ones House Bill 463 almost specifically targets, meaning a loss in revenue for county jails. Christian County Jailer Brad Boyd has been working with local state representative John Tilley of Hopkinsville, who sponsored the bill, about ways to overcome the loss in revenue.
Inmates that have more time, those that have a little bit stiffer penalties or stiffer charges, there may be those that are serving 5 to 10 years. And then also there's some things in 463 that in the original language when the bill was first introduced had been changed, again, to help the county jails that are housing these state inmates to keep from losing as much revenue and maybe recouping some of what we were going to lose as a result of it.
Addiction isn't something that can be cured overnight. The Phoenix Recovery Center is just one way these inmates can enjoy life again, one day at a time. Michelle Herron, Source 16 News.
Now, studies have shown that inmates that go through the Phoenix Recovery Center are 11 times less likely to become a repeat offender. Kentucky's coal industry was a hot topic at Austin Peay State University last night. The university featured a lecture from environmental lawyer Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a part of the Student Affairs Unity Celebration. The popular attorney recently filed multiple lawsuits against Kentucky coal companies, alleging they have broken federal laws for the past 15 years by producing fictitious documents.
And in fact, they were lying so blatantly that they made out one form many years ago that was their weekly discharge monitoring report. And instead of even bothering to make up new numbers, they just took that form and Xeroxed it every month and changed the date on it, and then handed it in to the state regulators.
If the industry was to be shut down, Kennedy suggested the wind industry could be an alternative for lost coal mining jobs.
So, and there's more people today employed in the wind industry. There's 86,000 people employed in the wind industry than coal, and there's great wind in Kentucky. There's great alternatives in Kentucky. Kentucky is it's the center of our national transportation system.
Kennedy is the senior attorney for the Natural Resources Defense Council and clinical professor and supervising attorney at Pace University's School of Law Environmental Litigation Clinic. He's also the author of the New York Times bestseller, Crimes Against Nature. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill in Washington today, Kentucky Senators Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul introduced legislation to protect Kentucky's coal miners from an overreaching Environmental Protection Agency and its war on coal. McConnell explained to the Senate what the Mining Jobs Protection Act legislation will do.
This bill will tell EPA to use it or lose it when deciding whether to invoke its veto authority of a 404 permit within a reasonable time frame, giving permit applications the certainty they need to do business. The bill would ensure that all 404 permits move forward to be either approved or rejected, so applicants aren't left in limbo, unsure how to act. The bill also ensures that EPA cannot use its veto retroactively. While being fair to permit applicants, the bill still preserves the EPA's full authority to protect human health and the environment.
In addition, McConnell pointed out that coal is an enormously vital sector of Kentucky's economy, with more than 200,000 jobs depending upon coal, including the jobs of about 18,000 coal miners. He also stated coal is a tremendously important resource to our country as well, because half the country's electricity comes from coal. The legislation is also co-sponsored by Republican Senator Jim Inhofe of Oklahoma. A Hopkinsville man charged with the murder of a 50-year-old woman this week was arraigned in court yesterday. Court records indicate that 44-year-old Tremel Jerome Smith entered a not guilty plea to the murder charge in Christian County District Court. Smith, a temporary factory worker, was arrested by Hopkinsville police Tuesday in connection with the death of 50-year-old Susan James of Hopkinsville, whose partially clothed body was found lying on the side of Christian Quarry Road off East 9th Street around 5 or 6:30 that morning. Police reported that Smith admitted to being with James Monday evening, and according to investigators, his story did not match up with things discovered during the investigation. At this time, according to police, they do not know the relationship between the two or a motive of why Smith allegedly killed James. Well, the details have been released in the case of 21-year-old Antoine Rouse of Clarksville, who was convicted by a jury of wanton murder of a Fort Campbell soldier. As previously reported by Source16 News, Rouse's attorney, Brandy McEldowney, filed a motion yesterday to have a new trial based on the discovery that jurors may have decided Rouse was guilty of murder based on information, not in evidence. On February 21st, the motion says one of the jurors indicated that the deliberations were quite contentious, with heated discussions, and at times the juror stated that she felt she was unable to adequately voice her opinions. In addition, the juror stated that she and 3 other jurors felt Rouse was not guilty of murder, but another juror who sat on a previous murder trial that month told other jurors that even if Rouse was convicted of murder and given a 20-year sentence, he would only have to serve 4 years and be eligible for parole if he kept his nose clean in prison. Based on this information, the female juror and the 3 other jurors changed their minds and agreed to convict Rouse of wanton murder. According to the motion, the jurors used of incorrect parole eligibility in their determination of guilt or innocence constitutes an overt act, and the newly discovered information should entitle Rouse to have a new trial or at the very least an evidentiary hearing. As we previously reported, 23-year-old Joshua Rogers of Woodville, Texas, was killed February 16, 2010, after Rouse hit his car head-on at Kentucky 115 Pembroke Oak Grove Road. Christian County Circuit Court Judge Andrew Self scheduled a hearing to discuss the motion for a new trial coming up on March 17th. A Kentucky death row inmate wants his conviction and sentence to be overturned, claiming jurors were biased in his case. William Eugene Thompson filed an appeal in the U.S. District Court in Louisville yesterday, saying jurors were exposed to news of a Florida man that was paroled from a California prison after serving time for a violent crime. Thompson is appealing his conviction and death sentence handed down in 1998 for the 1986 murder of Graves County Correctional Officer Fred Cash at the Western Kentucky Farm Center in Lyon County. At the time of the correctional officer's murder, Thompson was already serving a life sentence for a 1972 murder for hire in Pike County. Well, a house in Trigg County was damaged by fire last night. Katie's Fire Department Chief Kerry Fowler told Source16 that 8 firefighters from his department responded to the blaze at 161 Glendale Drive in Katie's around 11 o'clock. He says an electric blanket ignited the fire at the home owned by Myrtle Hooks. According to Chief Fowler, Hooks was at home at the time of the blaze and escaped without injury. He notes that firefighters were assigned by the Montgomery County Fire Department, and all fire personnel cleared the scene after about 3.5 hours. Well, after sacrificing his life to save a fellow comrade, military officials have named a new trauma center in Afghanistan after a fallen Task Force Currahee medic. The Specialist Jordan Byrd Trauma Center was named in honor of Byrd, who died in October 2010 when he used his own body as a shield and administered life-saving treatment on a wounded soldier. Lieutenant Colonel David Womack stated the renaming of the building is appropriate because of Byrd's selfless actions. Officials say the Emergency Operations Center is located right off of the medical evacuation helipad and is capable of providing faster emergency care to up to 8 casualties at one time. Well, he once wrote, "Things are fun, and fun is good." And it's safe to say the famous children's author, Dr. Seuss, had lots of fun in his lifetime. Yesterday was Dr. Theodore Seuss Geisel's 107th birthday. In honor, the Christian County Literacy Council hosted a birthday celebration where the cast of the musical Seussical gave a performance.
If we think about Yertle the Turtle and Horton, Who Hears the Who, and the Grinch, whom we all read about at Christmas time, we all know and think about how much we love Dr. Seuss, and it's been a great gift to all of us.
Seuss's books bring the kids out in anyone, which is probably why his books are so popular.
The language is wonderful. His imagination is just amazing, and of course the illustrations are too, so he's just one of a kind.
Dr. Seuss wrote and illustrated 44 children's books. He died in 1991. Well, a Graves County fifth grader got the opportunity of a lifetime to share the stage with musician Charlie Daniels earlier today. 11-year-old Carson McKee will perform with the country rock music icon during the opening general session of the National Sam's Club's Managers Meeting at the Dallas Convention Center in Texas. McKee was discovered by New York's ADM Productions in a YouTube video of her playing the fiddle. McKee began playing music at the age of 3. Get your numbers ready. Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $105 million. Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $25 million.